Okay, hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial on the post-op job for the airline version. We are going to be doing, as I say, the plain version of post-op, which, as you can see, the bank center here, not bank center, the job center here has a post-op job available, but they are not separate between air and land. I said that in a previous video. You may have noticed that the two original post-op videos I did, I unlisted. They disappeared. I've republicised the land version because it seems to be exactly the same. It hasn't really changed, so I'm just reopening up that one. If there are any errors with it, obviously I'll redo it, but for now it seems to be fine. The air version, however, has changed quite substantially, so that is why I'm making this video. So, we are going to select post-op employee, and we're going to head over to LSIA and go and pick up a plane that we need. So, in fact, what we'll do is we'll head over here to look at the planes available first, and then we'll get out my one. Apologies if I cough during this, but I've got a very dodgy, don't know, it's a cough. I don't think it's COVID, but who knows it these days. So, we are going to head down here. Whoop. Now you'll notice this car's fast, but it cannot turn. So I'm probably going to crash many times doing this. But this thing does pop some pretty nice wheelies, so that's a plus. Now this is another one of the casino vehicles, for anyone who's wondering. Oh, I've never seen that before. The beta server seems to have reopened up the casino vehicles for the minute. I think they are definitely coming to the sort of like main release for everyone. I just don't know when. Glitch hasn't really said exactly when it's coming, just that it is coming. So it's sort of just keep your eyes out for an update on that. We're going to go this way around the back of LS Customs. Looks like someone else is here at the moment. Don't know what they're doing. Come on. Open. There we go. I would also like your opinion on the quality of this video. I've messed about with my settings a bit, and from my initial sort of testing, it looks a lot better to me, but obviously the proof is in the viewership. So let me know what you think about this new quality. Okay, so let's go over to the actual air shop. And have a look at what the post-op planes are that are available. So as you can see at the very bottom of the list, we have post-op. First off, we have the Dodo, which is a seaplane from the pontoons, although it can land on land, and they've put a nice post-op skin on it. So that one is nice and simple, although it has no capacity, so you will be using your own inventory rather than being able to store stuff in the plane. We then have the Bombardier 415, which is I think it's an Italian bomber from World War II. It's a converted bomber. The Italians loved that design, so did the Germans. This may well be a German plane that they gave to the Italians. They loved the design of having an extra engine on the front. I don't think it really made any difference if you go by games like War Thunder. The two-engine bombers are just as fast, if not faster, than these three-engine things. But this is the next one you get. Surprisingly, this one also says 0 kilos. I think that's a glitch. I think they do have a storage size, it's just not showing. We then have the FedEx plane. A lot of you'll be familiar with this if you do cargo piloting. Just has a post-op skin instead. You also have the post-op P3. Now this is one of the fastest planes on the game, faster than even some of the leisure planes. This thing is a bit insane. So it's quite a good plane for this, and to be honest, it's kind of better than the next one, which is the 747. Obviously, flying a 747 in this game is pretty cool, but it is very big, very unwieldy, and it will blow up if you sneeze on it. So you have to be very careful with this plane, and it can be a bit of a pain. And considering this one is so much faster, people tend to just use the P3 all the way up from when they get it to 100 rather than getting the 747, but because I like punishment, I've bought it anyway. So we will use the 747 and hope that we just don't explode randomly. So let's go and get it out of the garage. So as I say, Poststop has changed quite a bit. They've actually changed the airport that Poststop uses. Apologies. And they have also changed how you give the post to other airports. It used to just be one place. They've now sort of made it like airline, where you can get random locations. Ooh, apologies for that jarring cut there. I know I usually leave these unedited, and also it's now raining, which is fantastic. But FiveM is crashing on me a hell of a lot today, and that is what has just happened. So we are going to continue as if nothing's happened, ignore the fact it's now raining. Right, so 747. Oh, where was I? Now you'll see it isn't actually called the 747 on here, because that would be too simple. It's actually called the Cargo Plane 2. Even though it's not cargo, it's post-op, but I mean, hopefully Glitch will change that, because it is a little bit confusing for people. But off we go. Now you can see how big this plane is. It's extremely unwieldy, it's extremely large, and as I said before, it will blow up if you touch anything at more than like 1 mile an hour. I mean, you can get away with touching things, but if you're landing and you touch something, you're just dead. So you have to be very careful, and we pray that we don't get Liberty City, because the solid runway lights there will absolutely massacre us in this plane. But even though we spawn at LSIA, because that's the easiest place to spawn, we don't actually start here. So we are going to be moving on straight away, taking off up to the post-op airport itself, which is just across the water. So let's get ready. Now, for people who are coming out of this completely fresh and new, you open up the ATC menu with either the X button on a controller or with Tab on a keyboard. I'll put up the symbols as well, but that is how you open up this menu, and this menu is mandatory when you're flying. You can't not use it, and you can't take off and land on anything other than a runway that you have reserved via this ATC. Otherwise you will be kicked, and if you continue to do it, you'll be banned. So we're going to reserve runway 1. It's now stopped raining, it seems, but it's extremely foggy, so that doesn't really help us out in any way. But up we go. Just do a nice smooth takeoff. We don't need to get very high, because post-op, as you can see, it's already appeared. It is right there. So in fact, we're not even going to bother to put the wheels up. We're just going to head straight over there. Post-op is at the bottom of the list. Because it's so close to LSIA, it doesn't do that thing like LSIA is right now, where it tells you the distance because it's too close to LSIA. So you have to just do it yourself. I'm going to land on the side just to make life a bit easier, so I don't have to turn so hard. And in we go. Now I want to be nice and gentle with the 747. As I say, it likes to blow up. We're just going to bring it down about 1,000 meters a minute. Start pulling up gently, gently, gently. Make sure the rear wheels touch first. Front wheels can come down nice and gentle after that, and we are good to go. So we're just going to back up a little bit while I still have reservation for this runway. Still got 13 seconds, so we can do a bit of manoeuvring. We will get ourselves onto the taxiway and head over to the post-op symbol itself. Make sure no one's trying to land on the runway we're crossing. Perfect. And we can head over. Now these these markings on the floor to my right and left, they are solid. They'll blow you up. Everything seems to blow you up. You just have to be so careful with this plane. Over we go. So now you can see these blue symbols. They're on the map, and they're also on the mini map. Right there. that is where you pick up your post-stop items. So symbol should appear, there it is. Now just like the airline pilot, you have to stop, and we can press E or LB on the controller to start our work, and we are now loading the post into the plane. Now you can see my current capacity is 3,000 kilograms in this plane, but we are not going to be doing 3,000 kilos worth of post-op because that would take a while. We're just going to do one takeoff and landing just to show what you need to do, and that will be all there is to it. So once we've finished loading, again, just like airline, it takes a while because it's got the loading unloading timer. 60 seconds for this plane, which is obviously a lot better than most of the airline times. Post-op is quicker than airline, but it still takes time. Come on. And as you can see, it's telling us we need to go to Palito Bay. And that gives us an opportunity to look at the new Palito Bay, because apparently that has now changed. I haven't actually been to Palito Bay yet. I've been to Pacific Ocean, which has changed indeed. It's now a proper airport like this one, which is actually very nice. But we are not going there, we're going to PBA. So let's get back on the runway. Ooh, mind the symbol. There we are. Don't touch anything. See if we can get on in one big turn. We'll set the takeoff clearance now because I don't want someone landing on me. Should have plenty of time to actually take off anyway. And away we go. So same as before, we're just going to do a nice gentle takeoff. Don't want to take off too hard in case the tail hits the floor and then we take damage. There we go. Get ourselves up to a nice steady 2,000, I think it's 2,000 feet per minute according to that symbol at the bottom, but God knows what it actually means in the game, but it's a nice solid climb rate for a plane like this. So we're slowly gaining speed as well, which is nice, and we can start making a turn. Now if you haven't seen that before, apparently that is a scale model of the Nürburgring that they have added into the beta server. Haven't actually been there yet, we might have to do a showcase on that because that looks like it could be a laugh. Now that we're getting a nice good climb, hopefully we won't stall while I'm doing this, but you can see now that Palito Bay has a symbol, same as before, and that is where our destination is. So it shows you on the map our destination. It's also there on the mini-map. We're not going to beeline for it though, because obviously we want to line up with the runways. So we will head towards Liberty City. We want to get up to about 2,000 feet. That usually gives you a nice bit of height over everything that you could fly into, and it also allows you for the maximum speed your plane is capable of. If you didn't know, the planes will actually, they slow themselves down at low altitude. So you want to get some altitude up and then you can move at the full speed they're capable of. In fact, what we'll do, just to showcase how crazy the post-op P3 is, we'll make this landing, show you the deboarding, getting the post-op vouchers and the experience, and then we will switch over to the P3 for the journey back to LSIA. And you'll see just how fast that thing can be. Now you can see if I'm not adjusting this plane, it will droop itself down. It's a little bit annoying because there is no way to actually trim the aircraft to keep it stable, but you just something you need to keep an eye on. Make sure that you're not just going to fall out the sky because you haven't noticed the plane is starting to dip downwards. So we're going to try and keep it at level flight using the vertical speed indicator at the bottom. Now obviously I'm using the 747 because it's the one I can use, but the process is the same for all of the planes. It just will change how much you earn and how much capacity you have to make multiple stops before having to go back to the post-stop airport itself to reload all of the post. Now you can see our distance destination closing rapidly, and there is the Palito Bay 2 runways coming up now. So Palito Bay still has a main and a jet by the look of it. this plane cannot land on the jet runway as it is far too large, but we're actually going to nosedive this a little bit just to get down in time. And you'll see I'm doing 145 if you watch the side, and look at that drop. Even though I'm not applying brakes, it's dropped all the way back down to 110 on its own. So we're going to just level off a bit. Still want to be coming down, but level off. We'll get the wheels out ready to go. Now level off a bit better because there's now these landing indicators, which there didn't used to be. But we can come down over those. This is quite a short runway by the look of it, so we're going to be actually using the brakes on this one to get the engines off quicker, and we are down nice and smooth. Easy peasy. We can turn off at this taxiway. Now you always want to land with these big jets. I don't know whether you might have seen the meme of my DC-10 exploded. With big jets like this, always land with the main gear touching the ground first. These planes are not designed to land with a nose gear. That is why they blow up so often when you do it. So you want to touch down gently, obviously. You want to be probably doing anywhere between level flight and about half 1,000 feet, so 0.5 on the vertical speed indicator. That's sort of the speed you want to be coming down at, and you want to land, as I say, rear wheels first. The main landing gear needs to hit the ground first, hopefully gently, and then you can not blow up. But here we are, so we're on another circle. We're now unloading the packages, so that will take another 60 seconds, and then once we have done that, it will start loading the packages again, taking another 60 seconds. But obviously once it's unloaded, we will see exactly how much I get for doing this route. This isn't the most popular of updates they've made to the servers, having these timers. It does make it more realistic, obviously, but it is a bit of a pain. Luckily I got my airline piloting up to 100 while it was still instant, so it saved me a lot of time and effort. Post-op not so much. I only got post-op recently up to 100, as you can see here. Post-op and quite a few others are up to 100 now. I'm nowhere near a completionist, but I'm getting there. I'm not really worrying about being a completionist, to be honest. I'll just do the jobs as I feel like doing them. I'm not going to grind, because that is a quick way to burn yourself out and not want to play the game again. So we have now unloaded. We're now loading back up. Now I did actually, on my little rhetoric there, I did actually miss what we got for that, but I will put it on the screen. Obviously it will show up for you guys in the recording. You can go back and look if you want, but I'll also put it up on the screen now, exactly what I earned for that. And you can see our capacity's gone down from 3,000 to 2815, and that is how much post was taken away. So as you can see, I'll be able to do quite a few stops before having to go back to post-op itself to reload all of the post. But for now, we're actually going to stop this job, because stopping job does not make you unemployed, it just stops any current work that you're doing. We are going to park this up, and we are going to get out the post-op P3, so you can see just why it's so much more fun to use than this 747 is. Luckily I didn't blow up the 747, so I didn't showcase that side of it. But we can now get out if it doesn't crash on me again. So, cargo plane. Now the post-op P3 actually is called the post-op P3, so that's a lot nicer. We can spawn that, and we can get moving. So as you saw with the 747, you got about 120 meters, or nautical miles an hour they call it, on here. Now the post-op is slightly different to that. One, it can take off from jet runways, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to find somewhere to land. So that's what we'll take off from. And also, it moves a lot faster. You'll notice we're already doing 110, we haven't even taken off yet. And once we're up, 130 easily. We'll get some altitude and we'll level off. And I believe we'll be doing about 160. So quite the increase from 120. And that is why everybody prefers to use this plane. You can see we're already gaining speed just because we're coming out of the sort of altitude limitation. Already at 2000, so we can level off. This plane also keeps its height perfectly. Unlike the 747, it doesn't just droop on its own, so you can very easily keep it stable. And look at that, we're doing 165 nautical miles an hour. This thing is rapid compared to the 747. It's rapid compared to pretty much every plane on the game. So it makes life a lot easier. And it doesn't have a bad cargo capacity. I believe it's 2,500, although don't quote me on that. My memory is not great with numbers. But it's nowhere near sort of the limitation that making the 747 a necessity. You can still very easily do plenty of trips with this plane. So we are going to get ready for LSIA's jet. No, we're not, because someone's just taken it. Hopefully, if I take a bit of a longer turn, we can be ready for it once it becomes available. And it said that they were taking off, so hopefully they'll be out the way quite quickly. Now the reserve limit, it changes plane to plane, but it won't just turn itself off once you're out of the way. It will give you your full reservation time. As you can see, that was a quick reservation time, so it's already available again. There he is, coming up ahead. I doubt we'll have any issues hitting him. So, it's a Dash 8. Nice plane, that. They crash a lot in real life though, probably because there's so many of them, it just seems a bit of a higher crash rate than normal. And in we come to land. We're still doing 138, as you can see. But here is the other feature of the P3. It will skid itself to a stop in seconds. And we're down. Easy peasy like that. And makes it, as I say, one of the clear favourites of the sort of players, as it's a great plane to use. It stops quick, it takes off quick, it flies quick, and it has plenty of capacity for the job. A clear favourite. But that is all there is to it for post-stop. You just pick up the post from post-stop HQ, take it where it tells you to, and unload it. And then, obviously, if we were going to continue the route, we would then just let it load again, and it would tell us a new location. We'd go on just like the airline pilot. But that will be all we need to do for this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.